This episode of the My Latin Life podcast is brought to you by Language Blend, the new best way to learn Spanish. Language Blend focuses on what you actually need to live and get by abroad with daily one-on-one lessons, a dedicated texting partner. It's like living in a Spanish-speaking country without ever leaving home. Go to languageblend.com for more information. Welcome back to the My Latin Life podcast. Since 2014, My Latin Life has been your trusted guide to traveling and living in Latin America. My guest today is Rugi, CEO and co-founder of Apostille USA. They help you basically get apostilles easier than doing it yourself. So in this episode, we're going to dive into, what is an apostille, how to get it, etc. It's going to be a educational episode, and we're happy to have Rugi here. How's it going, man?
Good. How are you doing, man? Thank you for having me. Really excited to be on your podcast. Big fan.
Thank you. And I know you're a bit nervous. I know it's your first podcast. Don't worry about it. I was probably nervous the first 30 episodes or something, maybe even still. But I know we're just going to give a lot of value on this episode. We're going to talk about apostilles, which affects everyone, basically. Like, how many countries are part of the Hague Convention on Apostilles currently?
I believe around 130 countries.
130 countries. I saw that Canada is actually coming online January 2024. So then you'll have Canada, USA, I imagine most of Europe, I think all of Latin America.
Yeah, most of Europe, all of Latin America. China's actually coming online in December. That's a big one.
Really?
But yeah, so that because China has its own process that's really complicated, that's been hard, but this is kind of streamlined it. So China's coming online. But do you want to just kind of get into it, kind of start just from what an apostille is, like why it was created?
I have one fun question to start. Is it
Okay.
apostille or apostle?
I say apostle, but I
Do
mean, you
you?
could say apostle, right? Yeah.
I say apostille. So
Like potato, it's all good.
yeah.
It's the same thing.
Okay, cool. So what exactly is an apostille and who might need one and for what purpose?
Gotcha. An apostille is a certificate that verifies the authenticity of a document for use in a foreign country. The apostille certifies the signature of a public official and the document and the capacity it was acted. So basically what that means and is that it's when you travel abroad, say you want, we'll use an example, right? That happens all the time. Say you're going to Brazil and you want a nomad visa. For Brazil, for that particular visa, they're gonna ask for your FBI background check. They're gonna
Mhm.
ask for your birth certificate. They're gonna ask for proof of a contract that you have with a company or proof of funds. And why you need so what an apostille does in this situation, apostles, so you get all those documents yourself, but a foreign country doesn't necessarily know that they're real or legitimate. So that was a big problem. So they had this Hague Convention where all these countries signed this thing. So there's like a streamlined system so people can travel easier. So when you go to get your visa, you get the apostille, you get a stamp from the Secretary of State of your state that says it's official document, has a seal, and that stamp makes it legalized for use in abroad. So that's kind of a general thing, like what an apostille is and kind of why it's used for. So anybody that's traveling abroad, that's are you buying property? Like often in say like Mexico, we have a lot of clients that are buying property. You need to
Mhm.
have a power of attorney
Mhm.
document. You get that notarized and it's signed, and then you need to get an apostille of that power of attorney so you can actually go into a real estate transaction. So it's very used by almost anybody involved in international commerce, in a lot of ways, and also international travel visas.
So it's not just immigration and getting residency visas, although I imagine that's probably the main use case for our audience, but it seems like it has some uses beyond that. So even if you've already got all your residencies locked up, there's still some educational value to get from this episode for other
Exactly.
purposes.
Mhm. Yeah, like say you want to start a business or you have a business in the US, or you want to show that it's your business documents, there's a reason for it, or you say you want to bring in employees, all sorts of things. So it's very, it's a diverse thing, and it's a worldwide use to kind of streamline, international cooperation, international movement of people.
Okay. And I believe you have a background story that would help paint the picture of the use case and how you thought to found this business.
So I spent a lot of time in Brazil, and a few years ago, I got a visa there. I was getting a residence visa, and I had a lot of issues just with the apostille process. Like, first, it was all the companies. A lot of them, they were you had to download, documents, print them out, mail it to them, and then they're just like bad customer service, bad experience. One company just disappeared. And my lawyer at the time kept telling me, like, asking me, like, do you know anyone? Like, how's it, and when I found, like, when I was able to kind of figure it out, I realized it's a big problem. I had this problem. My lawyer had this problem. So I realized, a lot of other people have this problem. So I teamed up with my co founder, Ralph Regis, and he's a computer guy, and he's really great at building, software and platforms that work for
Hmm.
people. So we were able to automate it, where now instead of like having to do all this, complicated forms, you can, in less than a minute, you can make an order, you can upload your document, and we made it to really work on getting the timelines fast. And also because this is such a confusing thing, like we wanted to make possible so people could talk to us. So we have free 15-minute consultations, which really helps a lot of people out, because when you get an apostle, it's like you're almost at the finish line, then someone tells you there's this new thing that you have to do. No one really tells you about it, and then something everyone has to do, and it just gets confusing, and people could get emotional, and it gets frustrating. So I was like, there has to be a better way, and I want to help provide this experience so people can live their dreams. And it makes me really happy, like when we talk to customers and kind of help them out, because I've been there, in the situation, and they've been there, so they feel comfortable. And it's it's good to help people kind of get to where they want to go. So it's a something where we can make money, but also feel good about doing it.
Hmm. And I've gotten apostilles two different ways. I've gone in person to, government offices, and then I've also done it through the mail. And when I was doing it at government offices, this was like before 2020, before the pandemic. And
Mhm.
so they used to do that. But my understanding is now a lot less places allow you to just rock up and get the apostille on the spot, which you used to be able to.
Yeah, I mean it's an issue, like you said. It's since even now, like with the government, like the federal background checks, is we'll get to that. That's a specific apostille document. Like that one has to be done at the federal level, and that now it's taken like 8-9 weeks. The other type of documents you can just apostille on, to your, if you're born in Pennsylvania or New Jersey, we can get them for you at the state level, and we can get those to you in 24 and 72 hours. But like, yeah, you're right. There's a lot less, you know, ways you can do it fast. And, like you said, it is possible. You can do an apostle yourself. You just have to look online, for your state, and, find the particular information, and, go through the protocol that they have. It's going to be slower, you know, but you can do it. But like a lot of people just would rather, we provide the ease, we provide the comfort, and we don't need you to go anywhere. You can do it from the comfort of your home, and we can guide you in the process. So there's an option out there for people that want to do it themselves, but a lot of people, they most people prefer to go through a trusted provider like us.
Hmm. Like I know both in Canada and the US, Canada's joining Apostille, but the current system, for people that know, you go to the Global Affairs office, it's called. And before the pandemic, you used to be able to go in person and grab a number like the meats counter and
Mhm.
wait, and then they would do the Global Affairs legalization on the spot for you in Ottawa, like while you're waiting. And post 2020, still in 2023, you can't go in person anymore. You have to send it through the mail, and that'll probably continue when they get the apostille thing going. And I know in the States too, some of the states used to be able to go to like the U.S. State House, like, you know, in the state capitol, and get the state
Mhm.
apostilles for like a birth certificate, a marriage certificate. And I think a lot of those state capitals, you can't go anymore.
Exactly. Like we're in this post-COVID world, that a lot of these things that used to be done easily, like used to be able to get a expedited FBI background check in like 2 days. Like we used to be able to do it, but they don't have the staff anymore. Like a lot of people went remote in the government and they never went back.
Mm.
So like a lot of these offices are closed. So it's like it's tough out there, and it's they definitely don't really try to make it easy for you to get an apostille.
Why do you think that is?
I mean, there's a lot of reasons, right? But I think, I mean, it's kind of maybe a little conspiratorial, but I think there is an effort, like people that leave, generally have some money. And I think any government would rather keep the people that have money in their country than go to another country. So, like, I'll just give an example. Like, one document that everyone's going to want to know about, the most important one is that federal background check in the United States.
Hmm.
So, that's like every country you want a visa for, they want to know that you're not a criminal, right? So, that's common sense. And
Yep.
so, the FBI background check, it's on a national level. So I'll just walk you through the process and tell you how it's changed. So the
Okay.
first thing you need to do, so you need to get your fingerprints done, right? But and then you can work with like an FBI channeler. So there's like 20 or so companies that are authorized by the FBI to process, the reports or liaison with them. And in the past, when I first got my FBI background check apostilled, say this is like 2017, you were allowed to do it abroad. Like I was in Brazil. I went to the federal police. I got an appointment, and then I got my fingerprints done there, and I got an official seal that they're official. And I was able to mail my fingerprints to a provider called Accurate Biometrics, and
Hmm.
then they were able to provide my FBI background check. And then once I got my FBI background check, then I could get it apostilled. And back then, you could go to the government office, and you could go through a provider who could get it done at the federal level in like 2 days because they could walk in because they had relationships. So that was the case. But now in April they changed the rules where you're not actually even allowed to get your fingerprints done in a foreign country. You have to be in the United States. So even so, like
You can't go to the U.S. embassy, I think.
you're not allowed to do it abroad.
Uh,
Like they
wow.
say they say on the website you can go to an FBI office, but the FBI offices are in embassies, and everyone I've talked to is when they've asked, they've said no. But supposedly you can. But so now it's like even harder. Like they make you have to come if you even want to go get a a visa. You have to go back to the United States because that's the most important document, the FBI background check. So that's one thing I would advise everyone before you're going, like 2 3 months before you go go get that document. And then once you get that document, you need to get it apostilled. So you can get the document pretty quickly. You get your fingerprints, you work with a channeler, you send it to them, and then they give you a PDF document of your FBI background check. But you need to do it in the States before you could do it anywhere. And
Mm.
before you could do this whole process pretty quickly. So now they've made it where you can't do it abroad and you can't get the expedited service. So it's like all these extra steps. So whether it's by design or because of COVID or just how things are, it's just now not as easy as you would think. So you have to kind of plan these things in advance a little bit for a
Wow,
smooth
that's good to know.
trip.
Yeah, so any American nomads abroad, when you're in the US, you might as well just go get a FBI background check, even if you don't need it. It's only like $60.
Exactly. You might as well do it, especially if you're planning. And then you want it because then you want to give yourself like 8 weeks to get it apostle, 8 9 weeks. With us, some people it's up to 12 weeks. So you kind of need to plan it out. So
Hmm.
that's something that's going on right now.
Hey guys, quick break from the episode to tell you about BitRefill. BitRefill allows you to shop online and in person without banks, converting your crypto directly into merchant balance. We're talking gift cards to Nike, Amazon, Apple, Airbnb, Hotels.com, and many more, all paid for with crypto. BitRefill offers more than 10,000 gift card options in 180 countries, including the USA, Canada, all across Latin America, including Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, Argentina, El Salvador, and many more. You can also apply the code MyLatinLife at checkout to get 10% back on your first purchase. Go to bitrefill.com for more information. And probably worth mentioning, what does the apostille physically look like? Is it a stamp? Is it a piece of paper? I kind of know the answer, but I want to set you up for it.
So it's a piece of it's a seal. So it's like a giant seal on a piece of paper that has, and then there's like a page with a signature that kind of that and the name of whoever signed it. So it's a big seal, and then it'll be like attached to then you'll have the document as well with it.
Okay. And so it's usually a piece of paper that's stapled on top of your document. Is that always the case?
I mean, that's the case when you do the physical, but some countries, like a lot of countries in Latin America, like Brazil and I believe Colombia, they accept digital documents, so you just get a digital copy of it. You don't get physical, depending on your needs. We either send you physical seal, or if you can decide when you order.
Interesting. And so do some countries implement the apostille in slightly different ways, or is the physical version always the same? Like, is it always a piece of paper stapled to the original document, or do some
No,
places do different stuff, like they do like a raised seal on the original document or like a stamp or something?
I mean, some countries demand the original document be attached to it, but others you can actually have. A lot of them you can just have a copy of the document. It depends on the particular, but most of the times, just the apostille seal, stamped to a copy of the document is usually sufficient.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know. I didn't know
And
that
also,
people were.
another, okay, go
Sorry to
on.
interrupt. I'll let you go. Yeah.
Oh, go first, and I'll go.
Well, I was gonna say I didn't realize that a lot of places even accept a copy or a digital version, and I really thought it was always the original document, like the original long form birth certificate, and then they stapled the piece of paper on top of it, saying like, okay, this is legit. But so I'm having a hard time
No,
picturing. Are they putting a physical apostille on a photocopy of the original?
yes.
Okay,
So it's called like a true copy. It's a
a
newer thing
certified
that
true. Okay.
yeah, certified true copy. So that's what we're doing in these cases. And in different countries handle it differently. Like I'll give you a different thing. So in certain countries, like most countries, the FBI background check, because it's a national document, they want it at the Department of State federal level. But some countries like Brazil and Colombia, they accept the state level. So for these countries, you can get away with, having a little less time where you can get it done in like 24 or 48-hour processing, because you only need a state level. I think more countries are probably going to take the state level just because it takes so long to get a federal level, and I think they're going to miss out
Hmm.
on people coming in.
And reminded that probably more than 50% of our audience is American, so that'll probably be a good, you know, uh, to reference most things for the American context. And so
Mhm.
let's just say you're getting your birth certificate, your marriage certificate, your kids' birth certificates and stuff in the States. Um, should they be using the state level apostille or the federal apostille?
I mean, you only need this federal apostille for the FBI background check. That's the only document you need it for.
And wouldn't it be better to just send both the FBI thing and the birth certificate both to the feds, or is the problem that it takes longer? And so maybe it's better to send the birth certificate stuff to the states and then the
Yeah,
background check
because the
to the
birth
feds.
because we have relationships with all the state offices, so we can walk in because we can get those done really fast. You just can't do it at the Department of State. So you only do the federal level for the FBI background check because every other document is really just the state's, kind of like when you got born, like whoever is the Secretary of State in your state knows. But the federal, it's the only reason for the FBI background check, because it's a national thing. It's not just your state. They want to see that you don't have a crime anywhere.
Hmm.
Does
And
that make sense?
just like a random example, but let's just say we had a family. They want to move to Latin America. The husband and wife are both born in different states. One's Texas, one's California, and then they have kids in Massachusetts, right? So we got three different states going on. So even in that kind of situation, you're still going to be sending to three different states. Yeah, three different states, and that, does that make sense?
Yeah, so I mean, for them it's no different. They just would like go through the order form and upload each document. They say what type of document it is, and then from there we take it from there, and then we get it processed at the state level. So whatever state. So we work with all 50 states.
Sweet. Rugi, this is probably a good time to just, I guess, tell us about the breadth of services that Apostille USA offers, how long you guys have been doing it, etc.
Gotcha. So we're really, really laser in our focus on the apostille, but we also, we work with different people. So like we can help you. We can kind of give you some guidance on on legal services. We have 50 partners. I don't know if I told you that. Like we work with 50 different law firms across the world, including Mexico, Brazil, Colombia, Panama, Italy, Spain, Portugal, and the Philippines. So that's not we don't charge a fee for that, but like if people want to drop a line, we can suggest some good lawyers to help you through this process. We don't do translation. Like we leave that to the experts. There's good companies out there like Rush Translate that can do it in 24 hours. So we can kind of help you with everything you need, but we're really laser focused on the Apostle. We want to be the best at this, but also connect people with our partners, like legal advice, or how to get the FBI background check, things that you need. We can give you some counsel there, but our bread and butter is the Apostle.
Mm-hmm. How many apostilles per year are you guys processing?
We've been in business for about a year right now, and we apostle about over 200 a month.
It's a good amount.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, a lot of it, most of our business comes through our partners. So like we really we work on building relationships. So like our partners now, like they just go to us, because before, like a lot of them, they would just ask the client to get it apostilled, and then the client would have a hard time, and then it would take forever. So they don't really get paid till everything's done. So now, like since we've shown like a really easy system that makes it super easy for their clients to go through the last stage of the business. I mean, of getting a visa or whatever they're paying them for. So now our law firms kind of they bring us our business.
The law firms bring you the business, and My Latin Life, of course.
What?
And My Latin Life, we're bringing you the business too.
Exactly. Not just yeah. Exactly. It's not just law firms. It's sorry,
I'm just
it's
joking.
my life. No, but you're right. Because actually, you have some other people too that aren't quite law firms. There's like different organizations that are kind of like nomad organizations and things like that. But we feel it's the best thing too, because a lot of people there's so many different providers that are like fly by nights and stuff, and it's hard for people to see who's who and what's what. But like when we get people through our trusted partners, it just makes everything smoother and it works really well. And then they're happy, and then they tell their friends, and so that's kind of how we're going. And that's why I want to talk to you and your audience. I'm a big fan of your channel. Like it's kind of a I think it's really cool, kind of what you do and how you help people kind of get through this maze of like trying to live in a new world. And this
Hmm.
apostle is one part of it. So I'm excited to kind of help all the people out there, your fans, your supporters as
Yeah,
well. And they
thank
can
you.
also like I said, if people have questions and stuff about the process, they can go onto the website and book a 15-minute free consultation. We can give you some advice, or if you want to know I'm in this country. Do you know a good lawyer? Drop us a line. We'll send you somebody that that we work with, that we trust. So we're trying to like really build this network, with everybody just like you and everyone. We're people that have shared goals, shared dreams. Try to work together to help that happen and have everybody make money at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, the links are in the show notes, guys. And we're doing this because we're educating you guys about Apostilles, and then also kind of recommending Rugi service. And then hopefully, I make enough commissions to put tacos on the table. Um,
Nice.
no, but I'm learning too. Are you in Brazil now, by the way?
No, I'm in Pennsylvania right now, but I'm heading back to Brazil in a few weeks.
Yeah, you spent a lot of time there.
Yeah, that's when I love Brazil. I mean, I kind of like my story a little bit. I guess maybe could be. I guess it's
Do
relevant
it.
to
Get
this.
into it. Yeah.
Yeah, I live in Florianopolis, Brazil. I'm not sure if your viewers are aware of it. It's a beautiful island. It's a large island. It's like they call it a city, but it's almost like a state. It has 500,000 people in the south of Brazil, and beautiful, lots of surf. Like a lake, like beautiful mountains, beautiful girls, and I met some cool people. Like in 2017, I was traveling, and one of my dreams since I was a kid, actually, after I saw a movie called The Endless Summer, I always wanted to learn how to surf, but there's no surf in Pennsylvania and no surf, around where I live. And so I got the opportunity to go there and I wanted to take a surf, and I was looking where's a good place to surf in Brazil. And then I found this place, and then I ended up staying. I wanted to go for 2 weeks. I ended up staying 6 months. Made good friends,
Classic.
and it's Brazil's a really cool place, man. Like they have a cool culture. Like people, they're outside all the time. People barbecue. It's like I'd say it's one of the easier places I've had to make friends, in Brazil.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you've been going down for a number of years.
Yeah, since December 2017, I've been going down there.
Mhm.
So I got like got kind of a life down there. Got a routine, like like there, like it's not cheap per se, but it's definitely you can live the high life there for like probably like 20% of the cost of the U.S. And live
What
really
one
good.
fifth?
1/5.
Wow. You
Like
just said
there,
it's
like
not cheap, but it's 1/5.
I would say, yeah, I would say, yeah,
There you go. People like hearing about prices, by the way.
yeah. Like I could tell you a little bit, like down there, like I live in the best part of I was living in a house, in the best part of the island, 3-bedroom house, but I got it because it was like nice. It was like 1,500 a month, but like you can have a place for like 500. Like I mean, all in, I was probably spending like 6 grand a month, but I'm living really good. Like there, have like a personal chef that prepares all my meals,
Mhm.
a maid that comes twice a week. Like I do like surf lessons, one-on-one surf lessons twice a week, a physical trainer one-on-one 3 times a week. Go out as much as I want. All for like under 5 grand a month. That's like living, not trying to be conservative. Like you could live a decent life like for like 2 grand, like easy. But like if you want to like live a little bit higher quality and just do whatever you want, but like a lifestyle that'll cost you like a 250,000, in New York, you can have for like 5 grand there.
Mhm.
And then,
Mhm. Yeah, we've had a couple podcast episodes talking about Floripa. There's the Stakes is High episode,
yeah,
and
yeah, I know,
there's
man.
Stakes.
I know Stakes. He's a cool guy, man. He's a cool guy. We met actually in Florianopolis. He was with a pretty girl at the time, and I heard a guy talking English, and I was at the place, and I was like, hey, and then we became friends.
That's sweet. Hey, Stakes, if you're listening to this, feel free to clip the podcast and tag me on Twitter. Some good social
No,
proof.
no, Stakes is the man. Now, well, he walks it like he walks it and he talks it. So he's a cool dude.
And you met him just randomly, like in person, not even through Twitter.
Not even through Twitter. I didn't know anything about Twitter. Literally, there was a place in Florianopolis, this cool like outside patio deck, and he was with this some hot girl, and like literally, I didn't know who he was. I was just chilling. Actually, I think I just finished eating. It was like right near the beach, and like we just started chatting it up, and then like we became friends. We hung out afterwards. Like he's been in my house like a bunch of times, barbecue. I went. He invited me to his house. He's actually a really good cook. He's like a master at steaks, and yeah, he's a cool guy. So I met him, but like I didn't even know about like this whole Twitter world till he kind of put me on. But yeah, just randomly met him, and we became friends. Like I chat with him, often to this
That's
day.
cool. Do you want to shout out the name of the restaurant you guys met?
What was the place? It was, he'll remember it. It was like a courtyard place. It was the Galleria, the Galleria, La Galleria. It's a cool place. It's like this kind of. It's right near the beach in Novo Campeche. Like literally, like you could walk to the beach in like 2 minutes. Like all these are fancy condos are there. Like and it's like one of those places in Brazil where it's like 5 or 6 different places to eat, and it's really fancy. They have a nice bar, and it was a cool place to get to know everybody. So yeah, then we in that beach, Novo Campeche is like the place to go. Like it'll change the way you look at like girls and stuff. Like just how beautiful they are. It's like it's crazy. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, I see it. Galleria NC.
Yep.
Okay. You know what's funny is I've had a lot of people message me saying like after you mentioned XYZ place, I pilgrimage to it. So maybe it'll
Mhm.
happen with Galleria in Campeche, Floripa. Another podcast we had with about Floripa was Joe DeGenny. I'm not sure if you know him either. Actually, I think he only was there for like a year, but you guys can check that one as well. Coming back to Apostilles, um, tell me again, just so people see the value, like if they do it themselves versus if they go through you, like how much time are they saving?
So if you do it yourself, it's probably gonna take like 30, 45 days maybe before you get your document back. And like you're not gonna have like they're not gonna tell you when you're gonna get it. You're kind of just like waiting, for maybe it'll come sooner, maybe it won't. And then you also have to physically go somewhere, maybe, or like mail it and figure it out. So it's like you can do it, and some people do, but with us, it's just a lot quicker, a lot easier, no headache. And you don't physically need to be anywhere. You could just do it from your house. You don't have to mail any documents. Like so in 1 minute, you can do everything with us in 1 minute as opposed to this whole process.
But if they do need the original for the process, they're mailing the original to you guys, and then from there, you guys are doing stuff.
Yeah. So if they do need the original, then they would just tell us, and there's a separate process. But they would just have to, basically what they would do. We would still want to see a copy just to make sure it's, to go. They would do the same order, and then once they do the order, we would give them an order number and an address where they would send it, and then we process it.
Mm. And if you do it yourself, when you mail it to the, Secretary of State, are you mailing cash in the envelope too? Random question, but I'm just curious how you do it the old school way,
I imagine you'd probably have to give a check,
or a check, like a money order,
a money order or a check. I
check
don't
to
think they
the.
would take cash
Okay,
in
yeah,
the
which
mail.
is also annoying because half people don't even have checkbooks these days.
Exactly. Like you have to do a check or a money order. Like so it's an annoying process. And like I've had people like tell me that they've struggled. Like there's a lot of people we've had that try to do it themselves and just give up and just like, hey, I just want this done. Sometimes it's like the last thing you want to worry about.
It's true because I think that apostilles are one of the biggest blockers to competing to completing the residency applications. Like, let's just say the residency requires maybe in Mexico it's as simple as showing self sufficiency. Maybe somewhere else like Ecuador, you're making a 40K bank deposit, right? Whatever it
Mhm.
is, but those are like pretty easy to do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if it wasn't for the apostille and maybe a couple other things, you could just wire the money tomorrow to Ecuador or, send the docs to Mexico, whatever. But I think it really is these apostilles and these legalizations that are gumming up the whole process.
Exactly, and you're 100% correct that's really the thing that jams it up because really like what the lawyers do like when you get a visa lawyer they need to or if you do it yourself they need to collect all these documents and get them apostille. That's the last step. So that's why our partners love working with us because most of them they work with partly success fees. They get paid up front and they get paid the rest when it's done. So everybody suffers. Your lawyer isn't making money, you don't get your visa, and it's just this big stumbling block where it's like it literally is like the one piece that messes everything up. And it's so important that it's crazy that nobody knows about it and nobody tells you about it until you need it. Then you're like, what is this? And people start panicking.
Hey everybody. Quick break from the podcast to tell you about Language Blend, the best new way to learn Spanish. Language Blend was co-founded by Jake Nomada, friend of the podcast, decade of experience in Latin America, and Jake and his team, they put everything into this program that they wish they had in terms of how to level up quickly with your Spanish language skills. Because the faster that you can get conversationally fluent in Spanish, the better the experience that you're going to have in Latin America. So go to languageblend.com for more information. Mm-hmm. So would you say a lot of people are confused about the apostille process in general, and how do you help guide them through it?
Well, how we do consultations, like so basically, yeah, I'd say most people are confused. I mean, first, people don't even know what it is, right? Like sometimes I have to explain what it is because it's like it's a it's a way to legalize your document for use overseas. So because people are like I got the federal background check. Why do I need an apostille? Or like a lot of times people they say come to us say I need a federal background check apostilled, but they don't have a federal background check. And that's even that in itself is confusing the process. So we can like just today I was walking through a customer exactly what you need to do. So we'll like send you email with step-by-step instructions. All right, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this. Because to get the apostille is like you have to get it through an official company, and you have to find like the fingerprint place. So that to get the background check. So we help them with that.
Mm-hmm.
And really, the calls are really quick. Usually in 15 minutes, we can get everybody's, confusion out of the way. And sometimes people are just scared, like, you guys just going to take my money, or are you real thing? So I think it just helps people have peace of mind, that you're talking to a real person, because there's a lot of people on the internet that'll do that.
Right. If it's just a landing page type of thing.
Exactly. So we give people peace of mind, and we just kind of help them because most of the things are pretty straightforward because I've seen this a million times. But for people, they get confused and they get frustrated, or they're just like, what do I need to do? Just basic things that are basic to me now, but for someone who's never done this, and they get emotional kind of because like it's personal to you, right? So it's like I just want to get my visa, and then some people get frustrated, so we kind of help guide them through that process.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any horror stories that you think would be funny to share?
Horror stories. One thing I would say, yeah, is that make sure you understand which documents you need before you try to get an apostille, or that you even qualify for the visa. So there was a lady that we had that was working with some law firm that we didn't know, and they told her that I think they just took her money and said, "Yeah, you could get this one visa," and then they wouldn't really tell her what documents she need. Then when she found out, then I gave her another firm to work with. They're like, "Oh yeah, this is what you need," and she didn't qualify. And so she spent all this money with the law firm. She got like a couple documents apostilled, and like she wasn't eligible for this particular visa. It was like a nomad visa in Spain, or some kind of visa, business visa in Spain, that you're like independent business. So that was kind of a horror. So she was going back and forth with this firm, and then it was kind of sucked for her. But that's kind of a word of caution. Just make sure like you get a checklist and you understand what you need and present the correct documents, because like these agencies, like countries, they're very strict. It's black or white. You need this, and that. They're not going to interpret things or give you the benefit of doubt a lot of times if you don't have exactly what they're looking for.
Mm. Yeah, one thing I was thinking that could gum people up is if is the do you need the original, or is an apostilled photocopy sufficient, and like really double checking that with the country you're applying to.
Yeah, we've that's like something that happens maybe 1% of the time. And if there is an instance like that, then we'll do another apostille for them free of charge. But it's very rare. But
Do
it
you ever
happens.
say like, look, let's just do both anyway? Like, give me the copy, we'll do the copy now, and then like let's also do the original just in case, and then maybe it takes a bit longer.
Our standard is the true copy. If they ask that question, then we'll bring it up. But the standard is the true copy,
Which is the
unless like
photocopy?
which is the photo for the photocopy. That's what we get done. Our standard, how we operate, and it's works 99% of the time.
Really? Okay.
Mhm.
I didn't know that 99% of the time you can just use a photocopy? Because I've always been doing originals
Hmm.
for the most part. Yeah, I think I've always done originals. And what sucks is if you want to do multiple visas, where I've had situations where you need multiple copies of your birth certificate then. Like, let's just say you're
And
doing 3 visas, you need 3 copies of your birth certificate, and sometimes they won't even give you 3 copies of your birth certificate. They think there's like a scam or like a identity theft or something.
what you can do too, also, what you can do is if you have the original document, you could send us the photocopy, and then we mail the apostille to you, and just bring add the original with it so they can see with the copy.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. And just be like, "Yo, give me this back, though."
Exactly.
I really have had situations like this where I'd be ordering like multiple copies of my birth certificate in a 1 year time frame, and they called me and said, "What's going on here?" We're just checking.
Yeah, are you alive?
Right, right, right. Interesting. That's definitely a revelation for me that you can do with the photocopies.
It just makes things a lot smoother, and that's why we're able to provide people such quick service. Like people just don't have time to send a real puts no one wants to put something in the mail, download a form, do all this stuff. It just makes it more efficient for everybody.
Hmm. And do apostilles do they expire or are they evergreen?
Uh, do they expire? The apostille itself doesn't expire per se. It just says that this is a real document. Whether it's valid for use may change in the country that's needed, right? Like, so say like your FBI background check, like you can't have got it like 2 years ago apostille because it's you could have got arrested in the last 2 years, right? There's like a lot of them they want it to
Right.
be within 6 months. So the apostille itself is evergreen. It says this is an official document. That never changes, right?
Hmm.
But whether you can use it for the purpose you want may change. So you may need to get that document again, apostilled or a different version of it, depending on what the use is. But for the most part, it's like an evergreen document.
So would you say, yeah, the police check, I get that, and guys, if you're listening, for you got to check which country you're applying to because some people they say 3 months validity or 6 months validity on the police check. So it's important to know that. But you're saying kind of for the at least for the birth certificate stuff or the non-police check stuff,
Yeah,
usually it's pretty much evergreen. And so the idea there is if you have a copy of your birth certificate and it's not yet apostilled, maybe you could go ahead and just proactively get it apostilled. But here's the thing with that, Rugi, is and can you explain this to us that you have to specify the country that the apostille is intended for. Like you say, hey, this I'm going to be using this in Nicaragua, and they like do
exactly.
the apostille slightly different.
Or it's just good to know, like, because depending on the country, like maybe there's like particularities that come up, and then we, on our back end, we know about it. So like when we process it, like if there's any difference of process, we know. So in the order form, you'll kind of just put in the country, and it's just good for us to know. But for the most part, it doesn't really change anything for you.
Like, can we double down on this? So let's just say maybe you originally intended to do Ecuador and then you change your mind and now you just want to do Nicaragua. Can you use that same birth certificate with that same apostille? Or is
Yes,
it going to say Ecuador on there somewhere and you're kind of screwed and you got to get a new apostille?
it doesn't say Ecuador anywhere on it. So the apostille just is any country that's part of the Hague Convention will accept it. So it doesn't matter if but like maybe there's some legalization. I think that's more for our records, but like an apostille is an apostille. So like it's legal for use in any country. It's evergreen everywhere, every place that accepts the apostille. So if you were going to go to Mexico, say you wanted to get citizenship, residency in Mexico, Ecuador, and Portugal, you could use the apostille, like three different times.
Hmm. So why do you think they always ask? Because even when I've showed up in person in the past, they ask what the intended destination country is at the Secretary of State or whatever. And I'm wondering why they ask
I guess they just want to know everything you do, right?
that. Do you really think so? Couldn't theoretically you just give the wrong country just to like throw them off then?
I mean, I'm sure you could, but probably most people say the truth. I mean, I think the government wants to keep tabs of everybody, know where everybody's at. I'm sure they have their own records. I'm sure it's useful for them to know where people are going, what the trends are.
Interesting. This could be another revelation too. That it's kind of reusable like that. So in that sense, then the apostille for the birth certificates and stuff are pretty much evergreen. Some birth certificates do. They actually, I know the ones in Canada, they have the day printed on it that that the birth certificate was printed. And so if the birth certificate was from like, it'll say, 2019 or whatever on the long form copy of the birth
Hmm.
certificate, right? And
Hmm.
so I think there might be some countries that say even the birth certificates and all the documents have to be, less than 6 months old or less than a year old, but that's pretty rare, I think.
And just another thing, I think that's one of the reasons it's good to have a good lawyer or good advice. When you go for a visa, because they know the things. So like a good lawyer will give you a checklist of what you need and give exact definitions of it. So if there's a particularity, they'll let you know. But for the most part, these things are evergreen.
Hmm. And guys, anyone listening, by the way, if you are looking to move to Latin America and you're looking for a good immigration lawyer in any country in Latin America, hit us up. Hit up My Latin Life on Twitter, Telegram, email mylatinlife@gmail.com, and we'll introduce you to the best immigration lawyers to handle your case and get your thing processed fast, because fast is important when it comes to immigration stuff. And a lawyer can get it often processed faster or just and ensure there's no mistakes. And it's well worth the money because it's really not that much. It's something you don't want to do yourself.
Exactly, and I would just like to say to the viewers, I 100% agree with what you said. Like, and good thing about you is you're with your network, you're plugged into all the countries and stuff, and that's really the most important thing. Like, the apostle is part of the process, but you need to get the lawyer to tell you what you need to get apostilled, and that's when then we come in. So you really, and then because otherwise, if you go off the wrong way, you can find yourself wasting months, wasting thousands of dollars, just getting a frustrating headache. And like I've been there, you've been there, so like we're trying to make it easier for the people that are coming after us, trying to live, a life abroad by like connecting people with trusted providers. So I highly recommend, any of the viewers out there to reach out to the My Latin Life and get connected with your group of lawyers and services providers that you know.
Because you probably work with a mix of both, right? You work with the lawyers, and then you probably work also with people doing it directly. And I imagine it's a little bit more tricky to deal with the individuals. Like they just have more questions and, a lot more.
Exactly. A lot more questions, and a lot of the people, the individuals, they're not even ready to get the apostle because they haven't got the federal background check. That's like the big stumbler. People, they kind of confuse the background check and the apostle and think they're the same thing, but they're not. You know,
Oh, like
like
they think the apostille is a standalone document instead of like a
yeah, they think
legal.
it's like one thing. Like they think it's the federal background check apostle. They think it's like because that's what you need, a federal background check apostle. They think that's a single thing, and they come to us. You guys do apostles, and they'll be like, "All right, do you have the document?" And they're like, "Oh, what do you mean?" They don't know. So that's what happens a lot with people who just come to us, and it makes sense. And that's one of the reasons because all this stuff is confusing for people. But usually when they come through with the provider, we ask them to kind of give a checklist to the people of what they need, and then they come to us, and then we kind of walk them through it and ask any questions. But things usually moves faster and better. Once someone's actually talked to legal representation and understands exactly what they need.
Mhm. Random question, but do you feel like with this business, going to individuals is tough because they're probably only going to do like one or two visa processes in their life? Or do you feel like you have like repeat customers? And I guess you guys are a bit newer of a business, but like, do you feel like people are going to come back, or it is kind of like a one and done type of thing?
No, I think you build equity, with people. Like we've had people that come back, And like just before I got a call with you, like I had someone who was friends from somebody else who had a good experience. So like customer service is something like that we really pride ourselves on. Like we want everyone, to be happy. But like as far as our business model, like I would kind of relate it almost to, I'd say like day trading a little bit. I know people that do day trading, right? And I'd say like the retail customers, like we tried Google ads and stuff, and that stuff works okay, but it's like you're not building any equity. You're just getting random people, and then maybe you'll get a sale, maybe you won't. But like every day starts over. Like if you're like day trading, like what you did yesterday doesn't affect today. Like you, like every day, it's like, and Google could change the algorithm. We could stop getting those people, like so you're not building equity. But we like to work with the law firms because that builds like a brand and it builds
Right.
equity, because they have clients and they have a base. So like, it builds from there. Like instead of one person making a connection and giving us maybe two other clients in a lifetime, a law firm that, maybe we do 30 people with them in a year, and all 30 of those people have a good experience. They tell their friends, they tell their friends. So that's kind of how we're looking to grow. Like, but it's where it's like business to business in the sense of the partnerships, but it's a lot of business to consumer because we do a lot of one-to-ones. Like that's one of the things like why we schedule these 15-minute consultations, really to treat each person as an individual and kind of get that, connection as well. So we try to look at it both ways, but I feel like to build the business, it makes more sense to work with partners and like, you know, kind of grow together.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. So if anyone's, listening to this and you're the consumer, this is a bit of a treat because this is normally almost insider info that's usually just kind of between lawyers and the apostille firms. And, they're not 100% going out there for, hitting consumers directly. So this is one of the only ways that people are going to get such a detailed breakdown of all the apostille information for free. So hopefully people appreciate this service.
This has been really cool, man. This has been a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. You're easy to talk to.
Hey guys, quick interruption to tell you about BitRefill. BitRefill is the best way to convert your crypto into gift card balances. These are gift cards that you can spend at hotels.com, Airbnb, Nike, and many more. You may remember Joel Valenzuela, previous podcast guest. He's been living on crypto exclusively since 2015, and he's a big consumer of BitRefill. And so I asked Joel, I said, what do you like most about BitRefill? He said that he likes the instant delivery, the precise amounts so that you don't have to juggle a lot of gift cards, and he loves the global selection. Nobody else has this much selection of gift cards, over 10,000 gift card options across hundreds of countries. Go to bitrefill.com to sign up, and you can also use the code MyLatinLife for 10% back off your first purchase. Go to bitrefill.com for more information. You had one question that you wanted me to ask you, which is what advice do you give people who are looking to move abroad, to live abroad?
Well, I think we touched on it, like as far as like the moving and stuff goes, like get a lawyer. That's number one, or get a trusted provider. But if we want to talk about just like life, I could give a piece of advice. I think the best thing you could do, I'm sure everyone said it, is play a sport or do an activity, like even if you like, like are fat and out of shape, if you go to an MMA gym anywhere, they'll treat you like family as long as you show up and try, and you'll make friends. Like when I went to Brazil, like I traveled a lot before, like, but I was going from place to place and I didn't really have time to set up,
Right, like do
like
lessons, yeah,
stuff. Yeah,
join a
like, and just
league.
yeah, you just meet people because like that's like when you play sports, like that's the language that matters. People just respect you for being out there. Like even if you suck, if you try, like from surfing, I made a lot of friends from that, and then like going to a gym, made friends. So I think to me that's the most important thing. Like I think I could give like just a not business advice is, and it's just good to be in shape, but just like that's a good way to break, like loneliness or like not meeting people, is just to go out there and go play a sport.
Definitely. What type of surfboard you ride?
I have like a fun board, so that's like not quite a longboard. It's smaller than a longboard, but it's bigger than like a regular board. I think it's like, what is it, 8 feet or 7'5"? I think my board is something like that. 7'5", I think, 7 feet 5 inches.
Nice. And you're
So
a bigger dude, right?
yeah, I'm a bigger dude. I'm like 215 pounds, and it's so the boards are interesting. Like the bigger the board, the easier kind of it does the more work for you. So like I have like a nice board, has lots of flotation. The cool thing, you can get a board made just for you. So like there, like I went to like a shaper, and he like saw my height
Mm,
and weight and like asked
custom
me what
board.
color I want, and it was like custom just to me. Like it's like a one of one, and I think it cost me like $500. It's totally worth it. Like to get like by like an artisan craftsman, like make like a one of one surfboard that's like looks beautiful.
Yeah, wow. That's awesome. Down there in Floripa. I
Yeah,
have
I
one
have.
question I wanted to squeak in. Sorry to interrupt, but I don't. I just don't want people to tune out. But what countries? What are some of the big countries that are not part of the apostille system?
Big countries. Like right now, I think Russia is not part. China not
Okay,
part. North Korea, Iran, Syria. A lot of countries like that.
Canada's in good company then.
Yeah.
Are there any other weird ones? Because we have a lot of Europeans in the audience, and maybe or any are there any Latin countries that are not part of it?
Let me look Google that. Hague Apostle. That's a very good question. Okay, non-apostle countries are, let's see, uh, Afghanistan, Algeria, Angola, Bangladesh, Benin, Burkina Faso, Cambodia, Cameroon, Canada, Congo, the Republic of Congo, and Congo Brazzaville, Cote d'Ivoire, Cuba, Egypt, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Ghana, Guinea, Haiti, Iran, Iraq, Jordan, Kenya, Kuwait, Laos, Lebanon, Libya, Madagascar, Malaysia, Mali, Mauritania, Nepal, Nigeria, Palestine, Qatar, Rwanda, Sierra Leone, Sri Lanka, Sudan, Syria, Taiwan, Tanzania, Togo, Thailand, Turkmenistan, UAE, Uganda, Vietnam, Yemen, Zambia, Zimbabwe. That's the
Hmm.
full list.
Of That's crazy. There was almost no Western countries on that list, I think, except Taiwan
And Canada is it's bizarre,
and
right?
Canada. Yeah, and Dubai, your UAE.
UAE, yeah.
Uh, those are kind of
So
the three.
most places, almost every place your audience would want to go, they do apostle.
Yeah. Well, I guess a bit of Southeast Asia type stuff, like the
Yeah.
Thailand, Vietnam.
So
But I
they
was
have a
almost
different.
thinking for people from. I was almost sorry to interrupt. I'm doing bad on the interruptions this episode, but I was almost thinking people like every country listening, like the people that are listening to this is basically part of the Apostille network in terms of getting your birth certificate. But sorry, you were going to say something where it's like the other side, where it's like when they.
So countries that like Thailand that don't have it, they have the thing called embassy legalization, and those are different processes, and we can help you with those actually too. So any country that's not a Hague apostle, like if you send us an email and like tell us which country you are, we'd have to give a bespoke price and rate, but we can actually do embassy legalization for almost all those countries, except maybe like North Korea or something like that.
Okay.
Like
And
we'll
that's
have to
so
do
basically if
it.
someone wants to move to Dubai or wants to move to Thailand and then uh, Dubai wants to see that all your docs are authenticated, or if you're
Yeah,
going to a non-Hague country like the UAE, you're not getting apostilles then. You have to do a different legalization
a different.
process. Okay.
Exactly. It's like embassy legalization, and that's like a specific process that's specific to them because they still need the same thing. They still need that you prove that your documents are real, but they have their own specific process. So we actually can help you with that. Like, but it's like we'd have to. It's a case by case thing since we don't get that many of them. But we work with a lot of the embassies, so we can actually get that done. It's just a little bit more complicated.
Okay. Got it. Got it. I'll give you a horror story, which is
Mhm.
Nicaragua has no Canadian embassy. And so
Really?
if a Canadian currently, as we said, Apostilles comes in 2024, but currently If a Canadian wants to move to Nicaragua, they have to take their documents, notarize them in Canada, pay for that, bring them to Global Affairs Canada, legalize them, which legalizes them for use outside of Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Then they have to bring them to the U.S. Embassy of Nicaragua in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to do all that before they can bring their documents to Nicaragua and, apply for their visa.
That sounds horrible.
It is.
It sounds horrible. I mean, I'm telling you, man, I really believe there's like some countries, they make things difficult a lot just doing bureaucracy. Like some countries, I think they just do it because they don't know any better. Or just the bane of being in the government, where it's like you got to get this form and that form, this and that and that and that. It can drive people crazy. That's why we can like a lot of these legalization things we can help you with. It's just that it's an individual case by case thing.
Awesome. Yeah, I think the service that you're doing makes a ton of sense. And maybe this is a good time in the episode to just run us through again. Run us through everything. How much does it cost again, roughly? I think it was like
Yeah,
$250 or something.
it's no an apostille's 199 per document. For the so we have two normal options. We have the 72-hour, which is the one that most people get. It's 199 plus shipping, which is 95 international, 65 domestic. Or if you get the digital handling option, that's $35. And then for the express is 24-hour service for documents, and that's 299 plus shipping. And then separately you have the federal background check, which is also 199, but that's going to take what it takes, like 8 weeks. So the
Mm.
process, basically, you go to the website and you click on order my order documents. You go to the order form. You put in, like, how many documents you need, what are and then you upload a document. You say what type it is. You upload the next one. You say what type it is. And then you also at the beginning have to say what country it's for, and then you add your email, your phone number, and then you'll get it. Then you'll complete the order, and then a couple minutes, 2-3 minutes, you'll get an email that'll have a payment link, a Stripe payment link, and then you fill out your payment information, and you add the shipping address that you want it shipped to, and then from there we process it in the time that it takes. We usually, the 72-hour one, it's always under 72 hours, usually sometimes 48 hours, and we'll basically send you an email that has the shipping, the tracking number, and then you'll get the document. Usually most documents from end to end you get in 5 to 7 days. Like if you ordered an apostille today, you'd probably have it, if you're even in Spain, you'll probably have it in your hand this time next week.
Sounds good to me.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're really excited, man. It's like it's something that's needed, like you said, and we just want to provide the best, fastest service and the best customer service, and help as many people, live the life that they want.
Simple. Let's get people their apostilles and help them immigrate.
Exactly, live that life, right?
Sweet. Any parting words or call to actions or things you wanted to mention?
I would just say for anyone that's interested in getting an apostle, just click the link, and if you have any questions, you can schedule a 15-minute consultation with me, and a lot of times it'll be me on the phone talking to you, see face to face, and yeah, just do that, or drop us a line with any questions, and we love to hear from you. We like to learn about what you're doing and see how we can help, and that's what we like to do, is to make money and make people happy. Well, that's my parting
Who
words.
doesn't? Who doesn't? And another thing, you'll probably agree with me on this. People, order your friggin' birth certificates. I can't tell you the amount of times I've had people come to me and say, hey, I want to do Paraguay. I want to do this and that. And they don't even have their birth certificate. And then that slows the whole thing by, 3 months. So just
Yeah,
go
get
online,
that.
order your friggin' birth certificate.
And if you're gonna go online, get your FBI background check done too. If you're good, once you think you're gonna leave, but the birth certificate you can just have. It's good just to have it. Just a document where you keep all your important stuff. Keep your birth certificate there so you can be on. So you don't have to go look for it when you need it. You don't
Right.
you don't want to get ready. You want to stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
I like that. Damn, I might steal that.
So
I mean,
that's
it's
all.
unbelievable. How do people not have a copy of their marriage certificate or their birth certificate? Crazy.
I don't know.
Gotta go get
The
that.
birth certificate, I can get it. Like maybe your dad has it or your mom. You don't live with them. You know.
Here's the thing though, a lot of people have like they have the wrong type of birth certificate. So they'll have like the little square one and not the full size paged. You know what I'm talking about?
Gotcha. So yeah,
So
you
they
try to
got
make sure you the right stuff.
yeah, you got to get the like long form birth certificate, not the small card one, right?
Yeah, the long form. That's what they need to see. They need to see the long form.
Cool. Well, I think that's enough calls to action for the audience. Rugi, thank you so much for doing this. Super fun to connect again and super educational, of course.
Cool. Yeah, thank you again, and appreciate it. And tell Stakes I said what's up. I'll tell him about this podcast too. That's pretty cool.
Good.
We're a small world.
So this has been another episode of the My Latin Life podcast. Again, our guest today is Rugi, co-founder and CEO of Apostille USA. All the links in the show notes. Thanks everyone for listening.
All right, have a great day.